World Malaria Day is observed annually on 25th April to bring global attention to the efforts being made to end malaria and bring about a change to eradicate malaria completely. The WHO has noted impressive gains by India in their fight against malaria. According to the report, most malaria prevention campaigns were able to move forward this year without any delays in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic. India recorded the largest reduction in malaria cases in Southeast Asia from 2000 to 2019. India has contributed to the largest drop in cases nationwide from 20 million to 6 million. In spite of the outstanding achievement by India in cases of malaria, strict intervention is needed to eradicate malaria completely from India to zero cases. At MediCircle, we're conducting a series on malaria with eminent doctors for World Malaria Day to boost awareness and educate people about the preventions from it. Hi, this is Sana Khan, and today in this initiative, we're going to speak to Dr. Hemlata Arora. Dr. Hemlata is an internal medicine and general physician in Mumbai and has an experience of 20 years in this field. She practices at Nanamati Hospital in Mumbai. She is a diplomat of the National Board Medicine, India. Moreover, she is also ECFMG certified and accredited by the American Board of Internal Medicine. Please welcome Dr. Hemlata Arora. Hi, doctor, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Sana, for the opportunity to be here in this interview.
Okay, Dr. Hemlata, how one can get malaria and how is it transmitted?
So, as we know, malaria is transmitted by the bite of a mosquito, specifically the bite of a female Anopheles mosquito. All right. Okay. There can be two. The parasite that gets transmitted from a mosquito bite to the person is basically what is called the Plasmodium parasite. That is what causes malaria. All right. The Plasmodium gets transmitted when a mosquito bites a human being, and then that gets into the body, and that can cause malaria. There are several kinds of malaria that can happen. The most common ones are the Vivax malaria and the falciparum malaria. Okay. There is also the Plasmodium malariae and the Plasmodium ovale types, which are very rare now. But the Vivax and the falciparum malaria are the more common ones. They get transmitted by the mosquito bite.
Okay. So, doctor, what are the signs and symptoms of it?
The signs and symptoms of malaria are basically after a few days after the mosquito has bitten, people will develop fever, usually with a bit of chills. The timing of the fever is sometimes, it can help us understand what kind of malaria they have. Sometimes it will be once a day. There will be a rise in temperature and the chills will come down. I mean, with the chills, it will rise up, and then after that, the temperature comes down. Okay. Then sometimes it can be 2 to 3 days, once in 2 to 3 days, and that can tell us what kind of malaria the person is having. Right. So usually malaria will have chills with fever, that is the hallmark sign, body ache, sometimes nausea, vomiting, these can be there, sometimes belly pain. Okay. When malaria is more severe and rather it has not been treated for some time and there is some blood affectation with the malarial parasite, then you can see other signs and symptoms of lowered hemoglobin, platelets falling down, so there can be bleeding tendencies. Sometimes if it gets very serious, especially in the kind of malaria that is falciparum malaria, we can see things like renal problems, stomach problems, other liver problems. That is called a much more serious variant of malaria. Normal common malaria, when it happens, it causes fever with chills, nausea, vomiting, belly pain, extreme fatigue, these kind of symptoms.
So, doctor, what precautions are necessary to prevent from it?
So the way to prevent malaria is basically to prevent mosquito bites from infected mosquitoes. So an infected female Anopheles mosquito, the particular breed, can cause us to have malaria. So there are various ways of preventing it. Personal prevention and protection is, of course, to apply local, the mosquito repellents and everything when we go outside. Wear long, loose sleeved and loose pant clothes so that, the mosquitoes are not able to bite us, especially during the evening times and even night times of when it is the feeding time for these mosquitoes.
Okay.
That is one way. The other way is to stop the breeding of these mosquitoes. That is, of course, a more community level intervention, where we try to not have dirty water collect anywhere, where anyway there's no stagnant water, so that we don't have breeding grounds for mosquitoes. Then there are some other interventions which help us. There are some other interventions which help us. Like, for instance, we can there are some genetic modifications of mosquitoes that are made, and they are introduced into the community, so that the replications of these mosquitoes is more, and the mosquitoes which can cause malaria, which can even carry the malarial parasite, will be less. So there are preventive measures at the personal level, at the local household level, to prevent collection of water and breeding ground for mosquitoes and all of that, and at the more larger community and public health level.
Okay. And what is the treatment procedure of it?
So once somebody is suspected of having malaria, generally we like to do a diagnostic test, either a peripheral smear or a CBC, and a checking on the peripheral smear for a malarial parasite. We usually are able to find the malarial parasite quite easily. Sometimes there are also these serological or antigen tests for malarial antigen. Now we can test those as well. Once we find that, or even on the basis of suspicion, especially if person has been outdoors, or malaria is endemic in our country, so especially if they're in construction work or any of those kind of possibilities, we go ahead and start the anti-malaria treatment, which is usually a course about 4 to 5 days of malaria medicine. Now, in most parts of India, the malaria is reasonably chloroquine sensitive, but there are some pockets which have chloroquine resistant malaria. So the main modality to treat is usually with artemether and artemether derivatives. So there are certain medicines which we'll start using. Most of them can be taken on outpatient basis. Sometimes the person is very sick and needs some IV medications and treatment. So then they will be admitted to the hospital, and only those. And that usually will be less than 1% of people with malaria that need admission to hospitals and get treatment. Yeah. Then there are two differences between the Vivax and the falciparum malaria. The falciparum malaria, once it is treated, it is treated. But the Vivax, once it is treated, it can sit in the liver, and therefore it needs to be removed from the liver also.
So how do we differentiate between the types of malaria?
It is differentiated on the smear itself. When we see the diagnostic test, it's already differentiated. So they will tell us the laboratory is able to tell us which malaria it is. Then accordingly, we can decide how to go about the treatment.
Right. So the patient might not know what kind of malaria it is, but
I mean, from the symptoms, you will not know very much.
Right.
But usually after the diagnostic test, we will know.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Hemlata, for sharing your valuable time and insights with us. It has been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure too.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.